Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 10 of Mad Dialogue with me, Michelle.
And me, Skylar.
Um, this week, Skylar, I've been watching, or rather, it's been coming up a lot about domestic violence and moreover, domestic violence towards men. So I thought that would be something good for us to talk about on this episode. So I'll tell you what I saw, the video. It was on Instagram, and basically it was this girl's roommate that was filming the whole thing.
Yeah.
So from what I was getting, the boyfriend had upset her. They were in the kitchen and he was at the cooking, and she was the one that was showing how agitated she was. He didn't respond in any way, shape or form for the entirety. And she was verbally abusing him at first, telling him to get out and go back home, blah, blah, blah. And then she proceeded to start hitting him in his back with a bag of lettuce. Now, I know some people will be like, yeah, it's a bag of lettuce, and be laughing about it. But you have to look at the intent, the connotation. The point I'm making is it's violence, whether it be a bag of lettuce or it be a pan. Yeah. The entire time he's just still cooking and not acknowledging how she's going on. And for me, that screamed, she does this all the time.
Yeah.
And, we do hear a lot about domestic violence towards women.
Yeah.
But we don't hear enough about domestic violence towards men. To me, both are equally just as bad. What's your views?
Yeah, honestly, same. Like, I don't agree. Like, it's the same, because the way I personally look at it is, let's say, okay, it's a man and a woman, they're in a relationship. If a woman, obviously, if she's putting hands on a boyfriend or husband or whatever, that's just as bad. It's like, sometimes, like, even with same-sex relationships, so a lot of the time it's kind of excused because they're like, oh, well, they're the same gender, but I'm like, how is that right? That's still your partner, and it's still domestic abuse if you're putting your hands on them. So no matter, like, male, female, whatever, like.
And I saw something as well that really annoyed me. I wouldn't say triggered me per se, but it did annoy me. There was a woman, and she was basically doing a TikTok, and she was saying, the wigs my man buys me every time, to hide the bruises on my face. And she had loads of bruises on her face, only for me to realize, I go to her TikTok account and she's actually blatantly admitting in the captions that it's a filter, and that, so you're using domestic violence for
clout, basically, and content.
And the reason why it upset me so much is because, now I'm bearing my soul here, is because I have been in 2 relationships where there was domestic violence, and with both people or both men involved, it was different levels of violence, but it was still domestic violence nevertheless. And a lot of people would say, not directly to me, I'm just saying in general to women and men that stay in an abusive relationship, why do you stay? Why don't you just leave? But what you don't realize is that with domestic violence, it is a gradual thing. Yeah. It's not just something that just boom, starts straight away. It's a gradual thing. And you see, when a person loves somebody, they try hard to overlook their faults. And they also believe, I can help this person, and they make excuses for their behavior. And meanwhile, the abuse is getting more and more intense. And it's not just physical, it's mental as well. They chip away at you, and so you start to lose yourself, and basically the words that they will say, they're repetitive and they play on repeat, and when you're hearing them all the time, you start believing them. They also do a thing where they isolate you from your friends and your family, and even if your family is trying to help you because they can see that you are in need of help, you will refuse that help for fear. And a lot of people also don't understand that sometimes it's circumstance that causes a person to stay in a relationship. For example, a woman or a man may stay in a relationship with somebody because that's the only roof they have over their head, and they don't know how they're going to make it if they leave. Children are involved, and sometimes the children are used as weapons, and so on and so forth. So there's many reasons why a person will stay in an abusive relationship and want to leave but can't, and find it hard to leave. And it's easy for people that have not been in that situation to judge and to say what they have to say. But like I was saying, unless you walk a mile in somebody's shoes, you can't really comment. But what I will say is, to anybody that is listening to this that is going through anything like that, please know that you will find the strength, because you can only take so much for so long. And one thing I found is, when I got to the point where I was like, no, I can't take this anymore, I started to fight back. And what you have to remember is, a man that is abusive is really a coward. He's a weak man. And as soon as you stand up to this weak coward, and I say man, woman as well, you will see how quickly it changes. You'll actually see the real them, and you'll realize that it's really your energy that they are taking from you that gives them this power over you. And as soon as you start taking that energy back, you'll see for yourself. And yes, when I say fight back, I physically had to fight back. But the minute I did, that's when things started to change, and I started to find the strength in myself, until eventually I was able to walk away. Until I'm here today. You know what I'm saying? So I'm proof, and many other people are, that you can get out of an abusive relationship. When you're actually in it, you don't feel like you can, but you can. You know what I mean? You just got to believe that you can. So in your peer group, has any of your friends experienced domestic violence or domestic abuse?
I mean,
you don't say names, obviously, but
but no, there's been like girls that have like.
And have you advised them?
No, because no, and honestly, in my situation, this literally only happened like a couple of weeks ago. The reason I didn't give any advice or anything like that is because the girl came up to me and she went, "Oh my gosh, blah blah," bottled me. And she's got the scar on her head. She's covered with makeup a bit, but she's got the scar on her head. I can see it. And then she also shows me a bruise and goes, "Yeah, and like he punched me or something else." And the whole time she's telling me this, she's smiling. And I already warned this girl about this guy. So for her to go through with it, she's not even with him anymore, and yet he's doing that to her, and she's telling people and she's smiling about it. And she also told another person while I was there, and the girl was like, "Oh, where is he? Like, I'm gonna find him, like I'm gonna get people to like jump him and this, that, and the other." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, no, like it's fine." But for me, it's like that thing where sometimes from like going on what you're saying as well, when people are in these situations, you can say so much to them, but sometimes there's no helping people, because for me, my thing is, when someone's telling me something and I'm trying to offer them support and they're smiling in my face telling me it's all right and everything, while they've got these marks on them and stuff, but what can you actually do? I
remember somebody that I was really close to for a very, very long time, and I witnessed firsthand her partner physically abusing her, and I tried to intervene, obviously, and there was only so much I could do. And I witnessed it, like them leaving my house, because it happened at my house, and him and her walking up the road, and the way how he's kicking her and everything, and it was terrible. And when I say I cried for her like it was me getting that beaten. Now, bearing in mind, I'd already been through domestic abuse and was currently going through it myself, but still felt like, wow, hers was just next level. And I went to see her the next day, and then a couple of days later, when we was on our own and we could speak, she she said something to me that just shocked me to my core, and I'll never forget it. She said, sometimes I like it when he beats me up. I was like, sorry, what do you mean? And she said, because it clears the air. And I said to myself, but so does talking.
Literally.
Do you know what I mean?
It just sounds like some dumb shit, but
but that's testimony to how much
like they
brainwashed.
Yeah, manipulated her, and sometimes for people as well, you can only put it into perspective and be like, if someone was like, let's say if he was beating on your child, and let's say, oh well, at least he's clearing the air with your child, it just sounds a bit ridiculous. So sometimes you also have to put it in perspective like that. But sometimes with these situations and these battles that people are going through, a lot of it, they have to go through it themselves. And I'm not saying like you can't offer people support and be there and help them and in them situations, but sometimes, like, especially when someone's not like family to you or really close to you, there's not actually much you can do, because a lot of the time people either won't want to hear it from you and will shut you out for that reason. And as well,
yeah, that's true. I mean, it is the case with anything where a person needs to help themselves, no matter what it is they need help with. The first place starts with them admitting that they need help. And so that's the only thing. The only thing I could say is if I was friends now with somebody that was going through something like that, they would get annoyed with me because I would be every day. Yeah. Because for me, I'd be looking at it like, okay, so for every negative word he says to you or she says to you, I'm going to say a positive word every day. Okay. And eventually you're going to start listening to me because I'm going to remind you and show you of your self-worth and your value, the value of you. Do you know what I'm saying? And remind you of who you were before you was with this person. Do you know what I mean? Like, domestic violence, domestic abuse is a serious thing and not something that should be taken lightly, even if it is a female hitting a male in his back with a bag of lettuce. Because once again, it's that thing of, okay, so let's just say he turned round and slapped her. Yeah, then he would be wrong because it's, look at the size of you, you're a man and but who told her to hit him first? Like, I've always told your brothers, if a female ever hits you, she ever puts hands on you, do not hit her back, walk away, and I'll go and deal with her. Yeah, real talk, because I'm not raising women beaters, so therefore I don't expect a woman to beat on my son.
100%.
Do you know what I'm saying? And it's as simple and straightforward as that. So yeah. You got anything else to add, my darling? Well, I guess we're going to leave it here this week. So once again, anybody that's going through any kind of domestic violence, abuse, please try and get help and know that there is help out there. But as always,
there'll probably be some phone numbers or something in the
there's
description.
organizations. Seriously.
Just put them in the description.
That's a good idea. I will do that. But I can only do that for the UK, obviously. So in any other, wherever you may be and you're listening or watching, reach out to the organizations near you, because there will be some. But as Skylar said, I will put some in the description. But until next week, as always, I'm sending an abundance of love and light, and it's goodbye from me.
Bye.